we're supposed to start multi-providers. Okay, chalo. What is a multi-provider? Okay, to see that one, first let's say one scenario. Then you can understand what is a multi-provider. Let's say I have info cube, cube 1 and cube 2. I want the data from these two cubes and create a report. Okay, how it is possible? Can you give me the options? Sureka, you can unmute now.
Kiran, hello.
Yeah, did you get the question?
Yeah. Can you repeat the question?
I have two cubes, two different cubes. I want to create a report from these two cubes. How it is possible and how you can do it. This is an interview question.
No, Kiran. Maybe if we place them in process chains like that.
What is a process chain, Shureka?
Basically for automation kind of.
Yeah, but what is the question here?
Yeah, query. No, how we need to, maybe we need to link the two cubes, but how can we link?
There is no process. The process is only to load the data, monitor the data. These two info cubes already loaded the data. There is a data in these two info cubes.
Okay.
If I go to Bex, Bex will take only one cube or one data target at a time, not both.
Okay.
So in this situation, I want to create a report and the data should be displayed from these two cubes should come to reporting. How can I get the data from these two cubes? That is a question. This is an interview question. You have to be very careful. Think there is options are there. Think.
Not getting, Kiran. How to link those two cubes? That point I'm not getting.
Can we create a cube 3?
Okay.
Can we add this two data? Possible or no?
Oh, okay. So you are interlinking basically.
Yeah, and see, I need a data. That's it. What I want to do is I'm getting what is the objects are there. 10 objects are here. How many objects are there? 5 objects are here. I will add this 15 objects here. I will get the data automatically. I will do transformation. I will do DTP. Then data dumps here, data dumps here.
Okay.
Okay, and there is a problem here. What is the problem? The problem is, for example, here I have a 10 fields. Let's say, whenever I'm loading here, it is a table. The table contains, this is a first info cube. Info cube 1, 10 columns. Info cube 2, 5 columns. It displays like this. Then I have a rows and columns. So what happens here is, whenever I load the data, first data into the third info cube, this data will be filled up. And this data will be blank. These columns will be blank. Whenever load the data from the second info cube, this data will be filled up. These columns will be blank. You're getting my point? Sureka, are you getting this? What I'm trying to explain?
Yes, Kiran. Yes, Kiran.
So what happens here? You're getting a blank space here. You're getting a blank space here. Then what is the problem? You are unnecessarily wasting the database space. It becomes a big. Whenever I have a huge number of data, we have a blank columns everywhere. The data size will go like toss. We don't know what is the size. So we are unnecessarily wasting the database size. In this situation, there is one more concept called, I have a cube here and cube 2 here Then I can create multi-provider. Then I can connect this. Multi-provider is nothing but which will be connected of all your info providers or data targets, which will use a union operator to connect, and it doesn't stores any physical data. That is the one thing. There is no database space concept here. It doesn't store physical data. What does it mean? Where is the data? The data will be in the cubes. It is only virtual data. The data comes and displays here. Data coming from here. So there is no space concept here. There is no problem with the space. Let it be whatever the size of the cubes. But whenever I add these two cubes here, what happens is the two cubes will be added and these two cubes will be union. Union is nothing but what? Clubbing the data. If I have, for example, here 10 records, here I have 20 records. If I say union, it will become 30 records. Clubbing, whatever number of records here, whatever number of records here, it is clubbing. It is not checking any similar records, very like any similar, no. It clubs two records, it clubs number of records from both info cubes and displays total number of records of 30. That is called union operator. Multi-provider supports union operator. This is what you need to answer in a interview.
Okay.
Fine.
Kiran, one small question, Kiran. So for clubbing two different cubes, at least one field should be common in both of them,
Yes.
like that, or simply we can do it?
Yeah,
Okay.
few things should be common.
Okay.
Okay,
Kiran, thank you.
let's see that I'm going to do one multi-provider example. Okay, fine. See, I have a two cubes here. Okay, this is two cube called actual sales. If I say display data, field selection for output, salesman ID, product ID, currency, calendar day, execute. This is the actual sales. Okay, then I have one more cube called planned sales. Click on it, display data, same thing almost. Product ID, salesman ID, very similar columns. Okay, product ID, salesman ID. I don't want about the characteristics. I want to concentrate on the key figures. That is important. It contains a profit, it contains a quality, it contains a sales. This is called planned sales. And the same three key figures contains in the actual sales also. So my task here is, I want to club this both data. I want to find out what is the variance in between these two data. That is called comparison report. We call it as a comparison report from these both cubes. Then what I am doing, I have to start creating my multi-providers. How do I create? Right click on your info area, click on create multi-provider. When I click on a multi-provider, just give a name, multi-provider underscore. Then what I can do here, it is a 7 AM batch. Multi-provider. Yeah. Why we changed? Okay. Chalo. This is your technical name and this is your description. Create. Whenever I create multi-provider, it is asking that what is your cube names? What do you want to select? I want to find out what is my cube's name. My cube's name is actual sales and planned sales. Let's say info cube underscore actual sales. See, it is displaying. And one more I want planned sales. These two cubes data I want. Select these two cubes, click on continue. It's just like your info cube structure only, same thing. With the same dimensions and everything. Okay, but only thing is you'll say change here. It is a sales dimension. Create one more. Okay, it is a product dimension. Expand this to, this is a 2 cubes are coming, actual sales and plan sales. Expand dimensions. Okay, if you say dimension here, see, same. So what I can do is I can add anything, product ID here, salesman ID here. Oh, you got
here both the info cubes.
It's closed. Yeah, Sureka, what is the question?
Here both the info cubes are from same info area, Kiran.
Yeah, I can keep it in the same info area or any info area, it doesn't matter.
So across the info areas also we can combine, right?
Any info area, anywhere in BW.
Okay, Kiran.
No, we lost it. I didn't understand why it got closed. Multiprovider 7 AM batch. Okay. Create. Okay. Find this. IC info cube IC underscore actual sales and plan sales. Can you see it is coming from all the info areas? So many info cubes. Can you see here? Not only from one info area. Right click on it, properties, say sales dimension. Right click on it, create new dimension, say product dimension. Expand your sales info cube, actual sales and plan sales. Expand dimensions, expand dimension 1, expand dimensions here. Product goes to product, salesman go to salesman. Okay, expand the time characteristic, calendar goes to calendar. Okay, unit comes automatically, but only thing is the key figures from both info cube should be selected, all. Then drag and drop into key figures. Okay, so should be selected. What is this? PS. Then select actual sales. This is the only thing you need to check. Both should be selected and both should be added. Then only we can do variation. Characteristics are, it's completely up to you how many characteristics info object you want to keep. Once you've done this one, there is a button called identify the characteristics. If you click on this one, it will show you how many common characteristics are available from both info cubes. How many common characteristics? I have 3 here. What is that? Salesman ID, product ID and cal day. So what I can do, this is from actual sales. Can you see here, if you expand this one, this is from actual sales and this is from planned sales. So 2 info cubes, it is contains a similar columns. What I can do, I can check this. Then I can go to the next object. I can check this. These are all the similar. I'm making this as a similar. I'm creating a connection in between this. Rather than displaying 2 different data, I want to display only one data. So we can do like this, or there is one more button called create proposal. If you do, it will check all the objects automatically. Okay, click on continue. We have to do similar way for key figures also. The next button is called key figure. Select key figures. Click on here. What are the common key figures both info cube contains? This. Okay, can you see here? This is an actual cube. This is a planned cube. So click on proposal, create proposal for all info object. Every info object will be checked. Can you see here? Automatically checked. You need to identify and check. Okay, click on continue. Once you're done, That's it. That's your multi-provider. Click on create. Click on continue. Yes. This is how you design your multi-provider. Once you've done this one, go back. What is my multi-provider? 7 AM batch. It is my multi-provider. What is your technical name? MP 7 AM. Now let's create /nrrmx. I'm creating a report. Click on add-ins tab. Click on tools. Click on create new. Once you get your info package, go here and click on create new. Let's click on find, search for info provider, that is my multi-provider. Click on OK. Click on rows and columns. So I want salesman ID, I want product ID, and from data package I want info provider. Drag and drop into free characteristics. Select all your key figures. Drag and drop here. Now I want a sales variation. If I want a sales variation, I have to create a calculation key figure. Select your key figure folder, right click on it, create new calculated key figure. It displays here. So what I can do here is double click and open it. You can say this is a, remove this description, says sales comparison report. And what is the technical name? Sales comparison report. What do you want to compare? Sales for planned sales. Okay, planned sales minus actual sales. That is my comparison. Click on save. Okay, so click on save. So my sales comparison keyboard is ready. Drag and drop here. Why it is not coming? What happened to this system here? This is really strange. Okay, let's save this one. Multi-provider 7 AM. Now it should come. Okay, sometimes your system will give you some miracles. Don't worry about that one. This is because training systems, we cannot rely on this, but in a real time we have a licensed version, so everything works. Okay, now I have a sales comparison. Click on save again. Now click on execute. It opens your report here. Okay, can you see here? This is your sales comparison. This is your actual sales. This is your planned sales, and what is the variation? Since it has a two values same, it is giving 0. If there is any changes are there, it will show you what is a comparison. See, for example, I have here only 50,000, there is no value. So it is displaying 50,000 here. Okay. This is how you can find out. Now click on filter. For example, people say that I want to know from where this data is coming. You say I have two multi-providers. Okay, you say I have two info cubes. Very good. What are the two info cubes? Actual sales info cube, planned sales info cube. And you people says that I want only data from the actual sales. How can you display? Do I need to create one more report? Not required. We have here info provider. If you remember, we have drag and drop into free characteristics. We need this. Right click on filter. You can find out from where this single values, how many info providers or how many data targets or how many info cubes this report are displaying. I want only actual sales, select it. It will display only actual sales. Please observe here, everything is AS. Okay, AS. Please observe, planned sales are blank. There is no data. Okay, what in case if I want a planned sales? Very simple. Right click on info provider, remove filter. Right click on info provider, select filter. I want planned sales. Select your planned info cube. Click on OK. Now please observe, actual sales are blank. This is actual sales. Yes. This is how you can display the data. This is all called multiprovider. Multiprovider is nothing but club union. It's clubbing the data. If you see here, what is the total number of columns you can see here? Okay. It's total 20 records. From both info cubes, it will take total number of records. This is what info provider. Any questions here?
Kiran, what do you mean by free characteristics and calculated TCodes, Kiran?
Yeah, we'll come to that part, Sureka, but that is a BEX class. I'm not explaining here.
Okay,
Anyway,
okay.
let me show you. Since you asked me, let me go back. I'll show you. Yeah, free characteristics is nothing but I'm using this particular any info object drag and drop under here. I can use this for drill down purpose, for filtering data, for categorizing the data, filtering the data. This kind of activities I can use. What in case if I remove this one? Okay, save this one and exit. There won't be under filter. See, right now under filter you have seen this info provider. Now I'm saving this. I'll execute this. See, under filter, you're missing this info provider. Why? I removed from the free characteristic. So that info provider is no more. I cannot do filtering. I cannot do drill down. That is what it will display. So what in case, see, salesman ID, product ID is coming from your columns. Whatever the rows you specify here, that automatically goes for filter. That is called your characteristics. If you want additional, which is not characteristics, if you want to do more filtering, then I will select this. For example, I want to do filtering calendar day. Drag and drop. Then save. Execute. See, calendar day has come. Right click. I have a filter option, I have a drill down option. Filter. I can filter by single values. If you select, it will display what is the data you want to filter. Historically, if you go, for example, I want to filter only 067-2014. Only that data will be displayed. Clear?
Yes, Kiran. Now it is clear. Yeah, it is clear.
That is called free characteristics. We can use as for free, like we can keep it into the filtering option. You can do drill down, you can do filter the data. We have a separate class BEX. We'll cover everything in a BEX designer, whatever options are there.
Okay.
Fine. That's all about your multi-providers. Then any questions are there?
Kiran, can we do the same thing for DSOs also?
Yes. Let me show you what and all you can do in a multi-provider. Then you will understand. Not only DSO, even info objects also can add. Can you see here? This is your object you can use for multi-provider. What are the objects I can use? Virtual info provider, that's your remote info cube. Info cube master data is info object, DSO, info set, aggregate. These are the things I can use for your multi-provider. Info set and multi-provider use union operator. Info set use joins operator. What is a join? Join is nothing but only common objects will be similar way. You can take two info cubes into this, you can add it. Okay, for example, here I have a 10 records in one info cube, here I have a 15 records in another info cube, but 10 records are common. It will take only 10 plus 10 is 20 only. It will leave the 5 is not common. That is called info set. That's only the difference, multi-provider info set. But another difference is I can add info set into multi-provider, but not multi-provider into info set. Clear, Sureka?
Yeah, Kiran, clear.
Okay, so that's the difference. Fine, once you're done this one, we are done. So the next class is called BEX. BEX is called Business Explorer. So in a BEX, what we can do? What we can do in a BEX? Any idea?
Reporting, Kiran.
Reporting. What kind of reporting we'll do? Where you get the data for reporting?
From the BI side only. All is from the data targets, like info cubes, DSOs, all these things.
Yes, you have to use that word called info providers or data targets. BEX is always depending on the info providers or data targets. Okay, first of all, what is a report? A report is nothing but a meaningful formatted output of query is called report. What is a query? A query is nothing but a question in general English. What is a question? A question is nothing but whenever I say how many sales, when, what, how, these are all questions, right? So these questions can be, we are pointing to, we are shooting these questions to the database. What is your database? My BW has a database. It contains some data. So I'm retrieving the data by using this question. I'm extracting the data or retrieving the data and I'm getting an answer. That is a question. So if you want to get an answer, then I need to provide this answer into the meaningful way. That is called report. A query is a combination of projection, selections and aggregations. In a BW query, it is a combination of characteristics and key figure. Obviously, master data and transaction data is nothing but report. What other tools are there? BEX, we generally call it is a BEX. BEX stands for Business Explorer. It is not a single tool. It is a group of tools. So we call it as a BEX suite. So we have here Query Designer, BEX Analyzer, Web Application Designer, Web Analyzer, or Reporting Designer. You do all your work, 90% of your reporting will happen here. BEX Query Designer. Very rarely we use this 10%. It's completely depend again your requirement. I cannot say like this. Company to company it might be various also. But most of the time we'll spend on Query Designer. Okay. So Query Designer we use to design the reports. This is a major. Even for WAD also we need to design the query here, then we need to get into here. WAD I cannot do design directly here. So I need to get the data from here to here, or you can directly get the data from your info provider also, but most of the time we'll get from here to here. So when I design any queries here, how do I view the query? I have two options, either browser or desktop analyzer. A desktop analyzer is called Excel. Your Excel also is called BEX Analyzer or browser. What is a browser? Internet Explorer or Google Chrome Firefox, these are all my browsers. Okay. If I do design, I have two options, but most of the time we'll go for here. If I do design here, I have only options to view the report from the browser, not from the Excel. But here I have two options, but here I have only one option. One option is I can view only from here. Reporting designer is nothing but it's like how you design your letter pad to printing your reports. That's only purpose. We are not doing any report design here. We're simply taking the reports for printing purpose. Will go here. This is an optional tool. We don't use this much. Most of the time in interviews also they're going to ask you this and this. But most of your questions will be from here. So you need to concentrate on only on this. Okay. What are the info providers used for BEX? Info cubes, physical and virtual, DSO, info object, info set, multi-providers. Only these objects will be accepted by BEX. Rest of things it will doesn't identify. If you have a data only these objects, BEX will identify only these objects data. What is the feature of BEX queries? Queries can be stored in a workbooks. One workbook contains more than one query. Query can be assigned to one or more roles. Roles will be created by your basis team, your user rules. Assigned in the sense, say, for example, I have a salesman. For example, I have a sales manager for India. I have a sales manager for US. I want to make sure that India sales manager will see only Indian sales. US sales manager will see only US sales. Then what I can do? I can restrict the data based on their roles. I'll create two roles. If I say role equal to India manager, then I'll say the query should be seen only for Indian sales. That is called roles. The roles will be created by your basis team. Exception can be defined in each query. I can create some exceptions here. We have a topic called exception and everything. We'll discuss. There is no limit on the number of queries. Can you just give me 1 second? Okay, so there is no limit of number of queries that can be created against one info cube. I can create as many as queries from one info cube or one DSO or any kind of provider. Any kind of info provider, I can create multiple queries. Let's come to the BEX Query Designer. It is an independent desktop application. Okay, defining and modifying the queries. We use this BEX Query Designer to define and modify the queries. So what happens is, most of the time I am going to work with the BEX Query Designer either to create your queries or to modify your queries. That is a major purpose. Let me show you that. Go back to here. It's gone to sleep mode. Okay. Let's say create new. For example, let's save this one. Click on create new. Let's say that close this one, will open one more. I'm closing this. Let's say open again RRMX. Click on add-ins, go to tools, create new query, enter. Okay. So whenever you open here, it contains a certain section. It's a section 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5. We need to understand what are these sections. First is called info provider. What is info provider? This span displays the elements of info providers, which is consider we have to develop your queries. I need some elements or I need some components. Those components will come from your selection of your info provider. Whichever info provider you select, that particular info provider components will be displayed here. If I select info cube, it will display dimensions, key figures and everything. Okay, so this is called info provider. From this info provider, I can drag and drop into the work pans. These are all the work pans. Okay, this is a one info provider. Then I have a one more option called filter. What is a filter here? If you observe here, I have a filter tab, I have rows and columns. By default, it will display filter tab. This filter tab contains a characteristics, restrictions and default value. It's very important. So if the filter has to be restricted on some specific characteristics, then those restrictions can be defined in the filter area of the query designer. It is like we have two sections out here. Characteristics, restrictions. This contains a static filters. Static filter in the sense which cannot be changeable. Okay, if I set up anything here, every user has to see same thing. There is no change. But default values are displayed the query. Whatever the info object you will add here, whenever I run the query, first time it won't display in the query output. For example, if I say calendar day, when I run the query, calendar day will not be displayed. Then what happens is the second time onwards, whenever you run this one, after some time if you do some modification then or do some any task, then it will start displaying. First execution time it will not display. Okay, that is called default values. Then there is one more option called rows, and don't worry, we're going to create everything. We're going to create a characteristic, restriction, default values. We're going to see what is the difference in between these two. And we have one more also called here rows and columns. And the rows and columns also have a free characteristics. We're going to add free characteristic. We're going to see everything. So we have free characteristics, columns and rows. Rows includes always, it's a characteristics and key figures can be included as a rows, but columns includes only characteristics values. Okay, this columns will include only the key figure values. Okay, rows will include characteristic and key figure both. Okay, that is called rows and columns. Free characteristics, I already explained to you. If you want some characteristics to be not included in the default view and you want to use it for drill down purpose, then I can go for whatever you add in the free characteristics. It won't display under columns. It will not be displayed under columns. But based on this characteristics, I can do some drill down, I can do some filters and all this stuff. Okay, that is called.
So Kiran, navigational attributes we can place under free characteristics. Kiran?
Yes. Okay. Whatever you place in the free characteristics, that will not display in a report output. But I can drill down the data. The report output will display based on the drill down, based on the filters.
Okay.
And you need to remember that you can multiple times you can add a same key figure in the columns here. I can add same key figure. For example, I have a sales. Or what I can do, for example, I have a sales. I can add here sales 1. Then again sales 2. Again sales 3. I can do like this. But in a characteristics, for example, I have a SMID. I can add only once, not more than once. That is the difference again in between rows and columns. Okay, you have to remember this part also. Okay, then we have a taskbar. If you come to here this side, okay, this is called taskbar, or you can say it is a properties. If you go to the filters, select it. If you select anything, it will display what is the task. Can you see here task here and properties? Two tabs will be there. Task is nothing but for whatever the task has to be, whatever the different task or action that can be performed depending on any elements you select. If I select SMID, depends on that SMID, the task will change, or properties also change. For example, let's say that I want to open a report. See, if I select here, automatically your task or your properties will change. See, you can check, you can save, you can click on the property. These are the tasks. You can copy the key figure. What and all you can do with this element or component. But if I select the properties, properties will automatically see, for example, sales dimension. I have selected salesman ID. Okay. Not here. Let's go here, rows and columns. I selected salesman ID. Can you see here? Automatically, salesman ID drill down characteristic and the description is salesman ID. If you want, you can change SM ID. Automatically changes here. Then display. How do you want to display? Always suppress, hierarchies, planning, extended. So many things are there. Okay. Then if you click on this one, for example, if I select this here and any key figures also, according to that key figures or characteristic, your properties will automatically changes. You have to always observe here what is a property you have selected. You can directly select from here also. The same structure, whatever it will display here, it will also display. For example, I want to go to sales or quantity. Select quantity, it will display quantity related information. So the property selection area, this is called property selection area. Okay. That's all about your properties. Okay. What else is pending? Messages. Messages is nothing but any errors are there, whether you successfully saved your report or not, whether any message like warning messages, alert messages, all the messages will be displayed under messaging section. This is all about your Bex Query Designer. Any questions here?
No, Kiran.
Any questions? So this is all about your Bex Query Designer.
No, Kiran.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Then if you see here toolbar, the toolbar, let's talk about toolbar. It contains here exit. Like you can see preview and exit, you have two options here. Okay. Then you have one more option called, let me click on here. Exit and use the query and end and discard the changes. Please observe this, you have to be very careful here. If you come from RRMX, only this will display. Let me close this. Okay. Go to my desktop. Let me open Bex Query Designer from here. I'm opening from Start menu. When I open from my Start menu, please observe, we don't have the two buttons here. Okay. Let me open any query. Still I am not getting. Can you see here? So what I can do, if I directly open, I can design the query, I can save the query, but I cannot check the query in a Bex Analyzer, but I can check the query in the web browser. That is the option. What in case if I directly come from RRMX? Okay, let me close this. Okay, see I'm coming from RRMX. Create new query. Can you see the button? These two buttons comes only whenever you come from RRMX. Clear, Sureka?
Yes, Kiran. It is clear.
Then you have here the info provider screen, the button here. You can see here. Info provider. This is the info provider section. If you're missing that one, you can open from here. Filter section, this is a filter tab. Okay. If you click on this, it will create. You have here one more call, rows and columns, rows and tab. If it is missing, you can click on this. But by default, it will display 3. See? It goes to info provider. You want to go to rows and column, you can go here. Either you can click on here or you can click on here. It's up to you. But we always click on here only, not there. Okay. Then we have here, this is called exception and this is called conditions. It will create one more tab. Please observe, if I click on condition, one more tab creates. If I click on exception, one more tab creates exception. So we have two classes called, one class for condition, one for class for exception. We'll understand what is the conditions, what is exception. And the rest of all is called taskbar. It will goes to open. These are all the what do you call? It is all the screens. Which screen you want to open? Message screen. It's a very simple toolbar. If you ask me, is it clear, Sureka or Sai? Sai, can you hear me?
Yes, Kiran, it is clear.
Okay. So what we do is, whenever you open your Bex Query Designer, these three will automatically opens. Only these two will not be opened. We have to open whenever you have a requirement. And these also will open automatically. This is your taskbar, this is a message bar. I'll tell you what is this. This is nothing but this. This is nothing but your filter. This is nothing but your rows and columns. This is your condition. This is your exception. Okay. Coming to here. This is your taskbar. This is your taskbar. Coming to here, this is your messenger. If you want to directly go, I can click on this, but it is displaying in front of us. We don't need to do. Done. This is all your Bex Query Designer. Chalo, then I'm stopping here. The next class, we will start doing this, how to create a Bex queries and how to work with that. Is it possible that we can take a class tomorrow also?
Yes, Kiran.
Because we missed a couple of classes, we'll take a class tomorrow on Monday also. If is that okay for you?
Yeah, for me it's okay, Kiran, but what about the others? I don't know.
Yeah, I'll check with them. We'll see on tomorrow on Monday also we'll meet, because we missed the classes this week. So let's continue this class, okay?
Okay. Kiran, I need a small clarification. Kiran, this whatever the master data related to logistics will be under RSFI only, right? Under LBWE, only the transaction data for LOs will be there, right?
LBW is for a cockpit. It is not a data will not be there. It is only for your enhancements will go for there. RSA5 is all the data sources, irrespective of logistic or any kind of thing. RSA5 is installation of data source. What data source? All the data source. All complete ERP will be there.
Okay.
So we go to RSA5. According to your requirement, I will identify my data source. I will select it. I will activate.
Okay.
Now I have my structure. There is no data. Then I'll go to RSA3. I will extract the data from the tables into the data source.
Okay.
Then I can come to BW. I will say replicate the data source. This is a normal BI extractors.
Yeah.
What about the logistics? What logistics I will do? First I will go to RSA5. Again I will identify the data source. I will activate. You have any enhancements in your data source? I will go to LBWE. I will check what type of delta, what type of update method, and what is the enhancement. Do you want to add a new fields or do you want to delete existing fields? Depends on your requirement. I will take my data source into maintenance. That is called enhancements. If I go for enhancements, if I am adding any fields, I have to fill up my setup table. Then I will go to the transaction code called SBAW. If it is a purchasing data, then 02 is a number. I will go to purchasing data. I will say fill up the setup table.
Okay.
Before filling up the setup table, what I need to do? I need to delete the setup table. In case if there is any data is there, I will delete the data. Then I will fill up the setup table. Then I will go for RSA. Then I will go for RSA3. This is the only difference in between logistics and other data sources.
Okay. Got it.
Done?
Yeah. Got it, President. Thank you.
Chalo, thank you. We'll meet tomorrow then. See you. Bye.
Okay.